Hi, good morning. We will have to start so that we can have a good Q&A. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Do you have your coffee? Because we're talking about SEO today. Hope you had strong caffeine, then we can catch up. I'm gonna have to simplify everything. They asked me to speak about advanced SEO, right? So hope you got your paper towels with you. If blood starts to come out, I'll let you know. No, I'm just kidding. I'll try to simplify everything for you. The title of my talk is Searching for Adventure. And it's because you guys are all travel bloggers. Can I see a show of hands? Who among you has a blog? A written word blog? Perfect. The rest, I assume you guys are on YouTube, maybe TikTok? Yeah? Cool. Who are on YouTube and TikTok as well? All right, we got a couple. Now, I am not going to be speaking about YouTube SEO, but you can ask me a couple of questions later. That's okay. So, first to introduce myself, and I'm just going to breeze through this. I'm an author. I wrote 3 books. First one is CEO at 22, which is my journey about how I started up. I got almost kicked out of college because I failed so much, virtually unemployable, and I started with a blog, just like you guys. I'm a born-again Christian, and my blog is about my faith, my journey in the faith. And so how I turned that from a $60 capital to now a $1 million company, that's what the book is about. I got copies of it here if you want to grab some. Of course, they're not on Thailand bookshelves. They're from the Philippines, where I'm from. You can get these 2 from Amazon, 50x Your Business, how from a one-man team freelancing about SEO before, now we are a 51-man full-time digital marketing agency in Metro Manila. I'm also a podcast host. Obviously, my subscribers are not that big, but I talk about leadership, management, entrepreneurship on YouTube and on Spotify. My company name is SEO Hacker. It's the first business I've ever founded. I've invested in 5 more businesses, and I founded a couple more businesses as well, which we're not going to go into. I'm a Reese Motivation Profile Master, a Wharton Executive Leader, and a John Maxwell speaker and coach, if you know him. So these are some clients we work with. Page 1 of our portfolio, page 2 of our portfolio. What do we do for them? We do SEO for them. We do their website development, design, everything. And as you all know, SEO is a retainer, so these guys are working with me for a long time. Now, who here, you guys use Google to plan a trip? Right? Why not? It's a click away. We type in a search query, everything comes out. Every creature comfort you want to know comes out. Now, who here knows what life was like traveling before Google? We got one here. You guys are martyrs, right? You guys are martyrs. Your stories should be on Google, should be on your website. Because I couldn't find a lot of people who wrote about it. But here's a magazine feature. Her name's Hillary Excelby, and she shares about her experience traveling before Google. She says, all we had was a Let's Go guidebook. I don't know what that is, because I was born in 1988. I'm 34 years old. I don't know what that is. But when I came to, there was Google. A roadmap and a goal, which is to ride the Silk Road to Kashgar and then onto the Great Wall of China. And then this happened. On the Kunjarab Pass, we wore all of our socks on our hands. We had no idea it would be so cold, right? Today, what do we have? We search Kunjarab Pass. Everything pops up. You gotta wear this, you gotta be like that, you gotta see this, you gotta eat that, right? Everything's served to us. From Kashgar, so we took a train to Hong Kong and went straight to the post office. I learned there from a huge pile of sympathy cards that my dad had suffered a heart attack. He died weeks before I got the news. Today, your dog chokes and you know it, right? Real time. That's what happens before Google. So why am I sharing this story with you? Could you imagine how your life would be like without Google's help? It'd be something like that, right? Maybe something like that. Maybe somewhere there. This is what all of you here bring to the table. I look around the room and you guys have helped hundreds, thousands, maybe even millions of people find what they need, go where they need to go, get that experience that they've been longing for in a certain destination. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
you guys bring on the table a better, easier to use, and faster Google. That depends on how fast your website is and how easy to use it is, right? But generally, because of the information that you guys have been publishing, this is what we bring to the table. Google is a search engine, and you guys are the result. Google doesn't write those results. They just rank them and serve them to people who are looking for answers. You guys make the results in Google. I always say, we are truth bringers. Social media is plagued with fake news, but that's rarely in Google. You and I, we are truth bringers. I'm in the truth bringing business. Here's a blog that you guys might be familiar with. Do you know whose blog this is? It's Anton Diaz's blog. I was invited by him. Yeah, you guys know who Anton is, right? This is his blog. I'm gonna tell him you never visited this blog. I'm just kidding. And his blog's URL is what? Awesome.blog. Can you say awesome.blog? Awesome.blog. You guys have to remember this because we're gonna be using this as a case study today. So I looked at his search results, and I looked at it in a deeper level. And here's what I found. And I used SEMrush and I used Ahrefs as well. I'm not an affiliate, but yeah, I use them. I'm an affiliate of SE Ranking. If you guys know who SE Ranking is, they're a Ukrainian company. That's what I use for my rank tracking. And so SEMrush says Anton has an authority score of 50. Authority score, what is an authority score? It's a metric that they use internally. It's their internal algorithm. We don't know how it works. We just know that backlinks have something to do with it. Does everyone know what backlinks are?
Yes.
Yeah? We're all familiar? Who here doesn't know what backlinks is? No one? All right, perfect. And so this is an internal algorithm, proprietary algorithm. We don't know how it works, but we know there's something to do with backlinks. So awesome.blog, 50. Organic search traffic, somewhere 46K. Backlinks, somewhere 472,000, which is great. Now, I delved a little bit deeper into his organic search traffic, again using SEMrush. And from 100,000, October 2020, it dipped to less than 60,000. January last year, all the way. All right, so the charts here back up this data, same. What happened there? Now I look at his blog domain name before awesome.blog. It used to not be awesome.blog. It used to be ourawesomeplanet.com. And I asked him, why did you change to awesome.blog? And he says, because now WordPress, the company itself, the company name of WordPress is Automatic, by the way. They're the ones hosting my site, doing everything for me on the technical aspect, okay? Which is fantastic, because they're partners. He doesn't need to pay him anything, right? So I understand why he changed his domain name, but this is what happened. This is Our Awesome Planet. How much traffic was Our Awesome Planet making? 300,000 organic search traffic in 1 month. That's December 2019, right? And even if we do not consider this spike right here, he was still making somewhere 170,000. Maybe 150,000 per month, right? Organic search traffic. People would kill for that kind of organic search traffic, right? And again, the bottom chart backs up that data. Now, I look at his Ahrefs. Ahrefs, what we're using here. DR or domain ranking, I think. Yeah, domain ranking, 54. Again, proprietary, has to do with backlinks. We don't know how really it is computed. Backlinks, 224,000. Referring domains, 2,100. This is ourawesomeplanet.com, right? His domain name previously. Now I look at his new domain name, awesome.blog. DR is 52. What happened there? Backlinks a little less, actually a lot less, 30,000 less. And then referring domains more. So what happened here? Of course, brother, I've been talking about you. We've been talking some good things, right? Only good stuff, right? So I'm analyzing your website here. Referring domains increase, everything else decrease. What happened? Anton's been blogging with awesome.blog, so a lot of other blogs have been linking to him. So of course the referring domains increased. The backlinks should have increased as well, but it decreased. Hence, the domain rating decreased. Something strange here. And if you want to check out what was the data previously when it's Our Awesome Planet, here it is. 224, 2.1K, 54, awesome.blog, 52, less, more. Something strange happening. So, from 300,000 December 2019, down to less than 60,000 today. Why the huge drop in traffic? There are multiple factors involved. And this is why you have to think very hard if you want to change domain names. Or if you want to do a 301 redirect for an article. I'll have Q&A after this. For an article that you want to migrate to another web domain. Okay, you have to think very hard and you have to plan it ahead. So, first factor. I used Ahrefs for this. Very easy. Just punched in his domain name. And I saw Wikipedia was linking to him. Amazing. People would kill for a Wikipedia link. And I see a lot of hops. 301 redirects. With one 301 redirect, studies show, Google studies, Mod studies, Weber. I didn't make my own studies yet, but I'm sure you lose some link juice somewhere along the way, right? They say 15% per hop. He has at least 2 hops here in this screenshot. There might be more, but I could only screenshot this area, right? So a lot of hops not doing him a favor. And then I followed the link, I clicked this exact link right here, and it turns out that it was redirecting to a 404 page. Okay? Which, when I brought it up to Anton, and he brought it up to Automatic, they fixed it immediately. But this one, I don't know how long this has been going on, but when Google checks out that link from Wikipedia, follows it, and ends up in a 404 page, then Google will probably cut that link juice from your website. That's not good. You're losing a lot of traffic from that blog post. This is a blog post about Iloilo food trips, right? Where best places to eat in Iloilo, which is a destination in the Philippines. So he probably lost a good number of organic traffic here, right? Always double check your backlinks. So, what do you guys use? I don't know. Ahrefs is what I use. They have the most comprehensive database when it comes to backlinks and websites linking to you. So, I like using Ahrefs. Again, I'm not sponsored by Ahrefs. I pay for Ahrefs. You're welcome to use any and other backlinking software out there. Cognitive SEO is also good. You got link research tools. They're also good. So it's up to you what you want. What do you want to use? Okay, another one is domain age. I looked at ourawesomeplanet.com, and Anton is one of the originals, right? 2006. Who here has been blogging 2006? The OGs, right? The originals. I started blogging 2009. So he has his domain name 2006. Lots of respect from Google, because you're one of the originals. Google loves websites that have been made for a long time and have been maintained for a long time. Awesome.blog, created 2018. That's 12 years after Our Awesome Planet. And this is just, how many years ago? Just 4 years ago. Obviously, the rankings would be less. And that's why we see the domain rating from a third-party source, SEMrush, and it's less. And in Google's eyes, guess what? It also would be less. Because it's 12 years apart. And even if you do a 301 redirect, guess what? Google still knows this one's 2006 and this one's 2018. Now what's wrong with this search results page? Page 282 of 393. Live an awesome life. It says, Our Awesome Planet, OAP, is a top lifestyle blog that documents the food and travel adventures, blah, blah, blah. Page 339 of 393, Live an Awesome Life, exactly the same thing. Page 179 of 393, exactly the same thing. What's wrong with this? These are called pagination pages. Pagination pages, if you don't optimize them, look exactly the same and say exactly the same things. And you're wasting what we call crawl budget in these. Who here is not familiar with the term crawl budget? Okay, we got a handful. You see, when Google crawls your website, the amount of power that it uses is a lot. It's like lighting up, I don't know, somewhere 10,000 light bulbs. That amount of power to crawl one site, especially a site as massive as Anton's site with a lot of pages and a lot of log entries, uses up a lot of power. If there's nothing new in your site, nothing new, you haven't published for a month, at least a month, Google will reduce your crawl budget to save them costs. You as a webmaster would not like that, because that means they're also reducing your authority to some degree, because they're saying there's nothing new on this site, it's been a while, let's reduce the crawl budget. They're probably not maintaining their SEO anymore, they probably don't care anymore. You wouldn't like that. You would always want to keep frequently posting at least once a week. But with the crawl budget Google gives you, make sure you make it worth their while. Now, a solution to this is make sure you optimize your category pages. You have category pages, repeated meta descriptions, paginations, that's what we saw. It's gonna be a pain for you if for every page you change the meta description, because as you can see with Anton's blog, there's 300 plus pages. You're gonna have to write 300 plus meta descriptions. You don't have the time to do that. So what I would rather do is I would no index the pagination pages, meaning Google bot, don't crawl these pages, don't index it, index my category pages instead. Because you only have a handful of category pages, and guess what, the category pages, you guys created them, right? I don't know, how many of you have like more than 50 categories? You gotta reduce those, right? That's a lot, right? Maybe reduce it to 30. Yeah, that's a good number. And then write title tags, meta descriptions for each of the category pages, and then index those pages. Those are the pages you want indexed. You don't want Google indexing your pagination pages. It's not gonna help you. Right, so customize the SEO elements of your category pages. When I look at the category pages of Anton's blog, it's not indexed. So you gotta make sure it is indexed. Okay, I use the advanced search operator here. Can everyone read it? Yeah. Right? Site, :HTTPS. You guys know how to use this? Have you used this before? Who hasn't been able to use it before? The half of the room. So using this will show results about how Google sees the URL or your index in Google. Right? So you'll be able to see how Google sees your website. Now, in this specific advanced search operator, I put in /category/restaurants. If I didn't put that, what I'll be seeing is the whole Our Awesome Blog index in Google. Right, so this is an example of a good category page, optimized search engine journal. This is what they did. Actionable SEO tips and strategies that work. Page 2 of 454, it's a category page, right? And they have your source for all things search engine optimization, including breaking news, algorithm updates, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, they custom fit that for this category page. Another category page, WordPress news and latest updates, page 2 of 8. Get the latest WordPress news from search engine journal, blah, blah, blah. Optimize, optimize, optimize. Category pages. That's what you should do. Learning so far? Is this something new for you? I hope it is. All right, let me see. Still have 20 minutes. At this point, I'd like to say I'm not an SEO know-it-all. I'm just a bloke like you are. I'm also in the journey. Looks like I'm a travel blogger here. I'm not. I rarely travel. But so this one's a treat for me. I have my wife right there. She's seated at the back, banging the video camera. If you're wondering why I'm not speaking about the advanced SEO stuff, it's the basic SEO stuff. Sorry, it's because I've been asked to speak about advanced stuff. No, this is advanced stuff, but I hope it's not too difficult, too complicated for you. Advanced search operator, site, :HTTPS, and it does have to start with HTTPS, by the way. You can't just put the raw URL there, and then HTTPS url.com. You can use that even for your competition. You can see how Google sees their website. Easy enough, you don't need to pay a dime, you don't need to use any software, just Google, that's it. So, For those of you who still are not that familiar with the basics of SEO, such as on-site optimization, I have a treat. This is something that I sell for $29 in my website. But only for you guys here, I'm giving it away for free.
Thank you.
Right? You can find out that I'm not kidding. Because if you go to my site, you'll find out I am really selling this, but you guys get it for free. You just have to put in your name and email, and you'll be subscribed to my newsletter. That's the cost. That's it. You're going to be added to 51,000 other people who are subscribed to my newsletter. Okay, and I only publish the latest news, updates, trends, tips, and tricks about SEO. Okay. That is the end of my first session. And I know the Q&A could be pretty bloody, so I'm putting a lot of time for Q&A. And we have a question earlier before with the gentleman over there. Sir, what is your question?
One, everything you said was true about Anton's site, but the one thing I think that you missed that everybody else in the room knew is that all of our sites lost half their traffic in roughly March of 2020 because people stopped traveling. So that kind of rather steep decline was sort of everybody in the room was going, yeah.
Good point. Good point. That one coupled with some of those broken things that we saw earlier, because from 300,000 down to 60,000, that is unnatural, right? That is unnatural, right? So there's something wrong with the SEO.
It was natural during COVID, it should have recovered faster.
They should have recovered faster. But up to today, still somewhere less than 60K, so there's something wrong. Yep. Yep, the lady, please.
I'm sorry, I have two questions if I may, but
Go ahead.
very quick. When you shared the one from Wikipedia, great to have that backlink, but I noticed it was no follow.
Yep.
What does no follow do in regards to link juice? Because I was always under the impression that either wasn't particularly useful from a link juice point of view, helped build the profile, but thoughts?
No follow links push trust. That's what Google says. Also, no follow links could or could not be respected by Google's search engine. That's what Google says, right?
So you didn't know.
In my experience, no, I do have a competitor who, I'm not going to say the name, please don't ask me the name. They're using Grey Hat SEO, and they're using PBNs. Are you familiar with PBNs? Private blog networks? Yeah, so they're using PBNs. And if you use PBNs with a lot of do follow links, you get penalized easily. So what they did was they no-followed everything. Hundreds of thousands of no-follow artificial links. And you know what? It worked for them. It worked for them. Until the last update, October 21. Right? The Google Spam AI update. That hit them pretty hard. But they're still on the first page. So from that experiment, which I was monitoring from my competitor, they were able to rank high. Right? They weren't able to beat me. I'm still number one when you search SEO Philippines. But they were able to rank pretty high. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, that's great, thank you. And with the pagination, you talked about cutting those off, no indexing them. Which pages should we actually be no indexing? So I have my categories indexed, for example. What should we be turning off, please?
The tag section, for me, should be no index as well. Because we got a lot of articles and we always use tags, right? I know about you, but I always use tags. I'd rather no index them. I'd rather have them there to help my readers to see more relevant articles. But putting them on Google Index, as well as my category pages, as well as the paginations, you're just wasting a lot of crawl budget. And then Google might also see that as you having a lot of duplicate content, which doesn't help.
Awesome, thank you.
Can you just say how to turn off pagination in WordPress?
Sure.
The indexing, yeah.
Okay. It's going to have to be from your robots.txt. So it's going to be a disallow, and I don't have the code with me, but it's going to be a disallow, and then slash, I think the subfolder is /page, right? /page /2, page /3. I might be wrong, or /page/2, it could be that. So with the robots.txt, you just disallow /page/*. Again, I might be wrong. Please consult your developer, because I don't have the code with me, not sound in my head right now. But what the asterisk is, if you're wondering, is it's a wildcard code, meaning any character after this trailing slash, any number of characters and any character is going to be considered. So it's still going to be disallowed. Right, so even if it's /page/ABCDEFGHIJK, if you put in an asterisk, it's all going to be disallowed. Hope that helps. Yep. Ma'am?
Yes. No, I'm here. Then you have my business. Actually, question for you. Do you find a particular SEO plugin like Yoast, or I use Rank Math and I find it very helpful. Like, do you find anyone particularly useful?
I use Yoast. For the longest time, I've been using SEO Ultimate until it was sunsetted and deprecated. So now we're using Yoast, but here's the thing about these SEO plugins. And who here is using WordPress? Wow, a lot. Great. I love WordPress. I think it's the most searchable CMS compared to Drupal, Joomla, Magento, and everyone else. Yoast SEO is just, all these SEO plugins, they're just crutches for an SEO guy, right? It's not really going to, it's not a plug and play. The moment you install it, things just go up. No, it's not. The moment you install it, then you have fields that you can customize and put. CMSs, they don't got those plugins, right? So we asked the developers, hey, can you custom code like an area where we can put the title tag and meta description? And there's just a couple of things that for me are important, which is what I mentioned. URL slug, title tag, meta description, the schema, metadata, and entities. And that's pretty much it, right? If you got those, that's all that matters. And the extra things that some plugins have is an easy way to use 301 redirects or permanent redirects. If you want to redirect a page to another page, that's pretty helpful. Another thing that it might have is an auto ping to Google, which is what a sitemap.xml plugin would usually have, right? So whenever you publish a new blog post, you auto ping Google, hey, come back, crawl this page because I published something new. That is something that's helpful for me in an SEO plugin. Otherwise, it's just really a crutch for you to be able to walk faster or walk better with your SEO. Hope that helps. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
I have two questions. The first one is outside of site speed, redirects, and I forgot what the third one was. What are the other important things that you should really concentrate on Google? And the second question was, if you want to keep updated and relevant, is it better to update an old post versus creating new posts?
Yes, on the second question, better to update an old post than to create a new post and have to 301 redirect the old post to the new post. That's my opinion. Other SEOs might argue about that, but for me, it's just cleaner that way, and it's more relevant that way. Now, to answer your first question, yes, we have someone who wants a mic right there. To answer the first question, there are over 2,000 factors, publicly known factors, that Google has let out and published. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever been able to check the leaked document of Google's guidelines for search evaluators. I think that was the name. There was a leaked document some years ago, maybe 5 years ago. And it was a very, very long document. And you could see there what really matters to Google. And it is from that document they were able to come up with EAT, expertise, authority, and trust. So I read the entire document and found out the things that matter to Google. But publicly known factors, there's over 2,000 of them, with somewhere 50 variations per factor. So all in all, we're playing with 10,000 variative factors in the game. But for me, the weightiest things would be what I mentioned earlier, which is what's important for me in an SEO plugin. Couple that with site speed, time to first byte, which I'll be discussing in workshop 2. Backlinks, definitely. Anchor text still matter. A mix of anchor text. Okay, I'm not saying just exact match anchor text. Yes, exact match anchor text is powerful. You guys know what can you still follow? Okay. But it has to be a mix of some no follows right there, some raw URLs, meaning www. Some people do link that way. Some brand mention anchor text also work to help that you're not really trying to game the system. So we're trying to rank high without telling Google straight at their face that, hey, we're trying to really game the system right here because we all have exact match anchor texts, right? So backlinks still matter a lot. Citations matter a lot. You have other websites who are mentioning your name, even without linking to you. Of course, the linking helps, but mentioning your name, putting you in publications, that matters a lot. So all of these factors for me are what I would personally be checking from time to time. Hope that helps. Yeah. Yep.
For travelers and consumers, the travel landscape and travel search landscape has changed post-COVID.
Yep.
And I think people are going to be less likely to want to read an article that's dated 2018 versus late 2021 or 2022.
Yeah.
I think most of us try to write evergreen content.
Yeah.
So if we have fairly evergreen content that if we update it, there really isn't maybe a lot of new material to add to it.
Yeah.
What do you feel about just making whatever changes need to be done, but if they're not a lot of changes, republishing putting a new republish date on it
Yep.
to let people know that, hey, this is still valid in 22, 23.
Good point. What I would do is I would make sure that above the fold, when people load the page on mobile and desktop, they would see an updated 2022 word. Right? It doesn't have to be in the title tag. Just above the fold, they'll be able to see it's updated 2022. If you do need to change the URL because it was dated 2018, 2019, change the URL, but make sure you're 301 redirected.
So, as I've done that, sometimes Google will use my new publish date, and then sometimes it doesn't seem to want to recognize the new publish date and keeps on insisting on showing the old one.
Yeah.
Are there any ways to nudge Google
Yeah,
to do what I want them to do?
of course. Have you tried resubmitting it on Google Search Console? Yeah, you tried that one? Is your old article still existing? That's why they're trying to push people towards that. Okay, so what you do if that's still existing?
Oh, I don't know if that would necessarily be re-existing, it would be republished. So I would just put in a new publish date, right? So that would be maybe the only thing that
Got
would
it.
change, and maybe some additional photos or maybe a few additional links. But I mean, minor
Yeah.
changes, not really like a really big
Yeah, Got it.
content update.
are you using schema metadata?
Yeah, whatever rank math.
I'm not familiar with rank math, I'm sorry. But yeah, if you're using schema, make sure the publish date there is also adjusted. And then have Google reindex it. Yeah, that's what you should do. Because again, they use a lot of power when you have it reindexed. So just keep on reindexing. And they'll for sure, they'll be able to see that.
Hi. It's a follow-up on her question because I'm a
Sure.
little confused now. I update posts often, well, not often enough, but I do update posts.
Yep.
And sometimes it's really minor changes. It's changing the price of admission of the place, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Very minor changes. And usually in that case, I just update it.
yeah,
And, but if I'm making a lot of changes, I change the publish date and actually republish it.
Mhm.
Am I understanding you right that I should be republishing to today's date
yeah.
for every single one, even if I only make small changes?
So here's the thing, Google serves people, right? You have to always remember that people are your readers. It's human beings. And if people want to see an updated date and that makes them feel more comfortable, that's what Google will want. So republishing it to an updated date will help you a lot, but also put in there, if you update the price, put in there in a bracket form, updated 2022.
Yeah, I could
Yeah,
read that.
yeah, that
But
helps.
not necessarily republishing it. Not necessarily changing the publish date. So you're saying I should
Yeah.
republish.
Republish it, yeah, yeah. That makes sense, yep. Okay, can you help me out with people? Yeah, please,
Do
thank
you
you.
have any tips on getting snippets even though you're not on the first page of results?
Rank 0, that's pretty tough. And so usually it's random. We would be able to see people who are ranking number 3, number 4 have a rank 0 placement. If you are able to answer a specific search query in the simplest, most understandable way, that's the way to go rank 0. And usually, those who are able to go rank 0, the entire blog is about that topic. And then you would be able to address the most common, the frequently asked questions at the topmost section of your blog post. Like you have a TLDR. If you have a TLDR right there, put it in a box. Google will notice, oh, this guy has a summary form. We can put this person to rank 0.
So is that always important to put it above the fold? Or
Yes.
as close to the top as possible?
Above the fold.
Yeah, like an FAQ.
Yeah. That helps a lot. So, but then again, even if you do it, still a Hail Mary. You just don't know if Google will put you in rank 0.
Hello, what do you think about deleting old posts that is no longer serving your blog, your readers, you? It's just like bad writing, just. So what do you, I've been going through deleting old posts, and there's controversy around whether you should delete it or just, I don't know what to do with them, but it's like.
Did you write them?
No, yeah, I've deleted a ton. I've deleted like 50. They look like a kindergarten wrote them, but like, geez. So what are your thoughts on deleting posts?
Well, you deleted them already.
I did.
I don't want to make you feel bad. I'm just kidding. No, but to answer the question, if the post is no longer useful, personally, what I would do is just keep them around, especially if they have some links pointing to them. And if you really want them gone, I'm just going to redirect them somewhere else. Because there's a link juice somewhere there, right? But if you delete it, it's
No,
going to
they're like 9 years old. There's no link juice to them. Nobody's read them in 9 years. Or even before I even wrote them, nobody read them.
If you're that sure,
Yeah.
then no love lost right there.
but I've heard that it helps when you sort of get rid of that dead weight, or is that not true? That dead weight that's hanging on.
It only helps if those blog posts are completely off topic from the rest of your blog posts.
Okay.
Right? So, but if it is somewhere along that area, vertically irrelevant, then I personally wouldn't delete them.
Okay.
Hope that helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
A sort of related two-parter. Firstly, can you talk about any risks or issues that come with internal redirecting? Whether there's anything we should be considering if we're deleting a post and redirecting to another, or changing the URL and redirecting to a new URL.
Yep.
And a sort of related second parter is I actually want to completely change the structure of my whole blog. So stick the category name in the URL, which would mean changing the URL every single post I've got redirecting.
Why would you want that though?
Because currently it just has blog.com/things to do in Phuket, and I would have blog.com/Thailand/things to do in Phuket. So all my Thailand content is within one kind of structure there.
Got it.
My question is, should I do that then? Are there any risks or upsides to doing that?
So here's the thing. If you do a restructuring, are you using WordPress?
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, 301 redirects are super tricky because if you don't have a development team backing you up doing it, you might just wreck some of your SEO. The chances of you wrecking the user experience is fairly low, but wrecking the SEO is fairly high. And so with the risks, so what are the risks? Number one, if you're mistaken with the redirect type, like it's a 302, that's gonna wreck your SEO. If you do a redirect loop, like you redirect something to somewhere, and it does, I know it's 5 minutes because I have a timer here. And if you redirect it somewhere, that redirects back, and you have a redirect loop, it's gonna be broken, right? So there are a lot of risks involved actually. The second question is, if you're gonna put a /category subfolder in between per post, right? What happens is those posts that you had before that didn't have the /category as a subfolder pre-URL slug, are you going to be redirecting them now to a subfolder that has /category? So if you are able to read, and I don't know how many posts you have, right? You may have 800 posts, and you're gonna have to do like 800 redirects, right? Higher than 800, 1,000, 2,000.
Price is right. Can I read the show, guys?
It's an auction here, right? So you got a lot of posts, sir, and if you're gonna have to 301 redirect all of those things, it's gonna get pretty bloody, right?
Yeah.
And if you make a mistake on the 301 redirects, what's gonna happen is you're gonna lose the link juice completely.
Let's just assume I don't make any mistakes.
You're gonna lose 15% per hop. That's what at least Google says, right? Of link juice.
Even internal redirect.
Yeah, because if you do a 301 redirect, it hops, right? You saw the Wikipedia link. It does link to Anton's blog, and then there's 2 301 redirects hopping.
But they were going to a different domain.
Different domains. Still, even if it is an internal redirect, there's still some love lost there. Yeah. So that's if you do everything right. You're at the godlike level, right? If you do that, everything right. Right? You challenge accepted. I can see your face. Challenge accepted, right? There will still be some love lost on the link juice. That I think is the biggest downside to it.
I'll be a case study for you next year.
Now,
I have
yes,
a question. You said that if we don't post often,
Yep.
then Google doesn't roll our site. So
Yep.
I have some sites that haven't published for a while.
Yeah.
How can we bring them back to life?
People have comments here about that, right? So some people here are saying, give me some access and I'll write on it, right? So hire some writers.
Oh, no. I mean, if you publish again,
Yeah.
what is the trick to bring them back to life? I mean, for Google, not, I know that I have to publish, but
Just publish.
okay.
And then do the pinging of Google. If you have sitemap.xml or if you have a WordPress plugin like, what was it, SEO? Rank Math, there you go. I do believe that all SEO plugins today in WordPress have a staple of an XML sitemap that pings Google whenever you publish something new. So just publish something new. If you have an SEO plugin, Google's gonna be able to see that, get notified, crawl you again.
Oh, we can.
Yes, sir.
Hey, so you mentioned when people write about you, it's great to have obviously a link back to your site if they're
Yeah.
referencing you like a newspaper article or something, as well as if they don't do that, if they mention your name, it's still helpful because Google likes that. I'm regularly featured in like Canadian newspapers and magazines as an expert on certain things, and most of them, like the Globe and Mail, for example, like as a policy, they never link to anyone, and they wouldn't even mention my website name, but they would mention my name, like Andrew Dobson, which is in my about page. Like, is that still even like would Google see the relevancy of like, oh, this is the person's name who owns the website, or am I just giving my 2 hours to be interviewed all the time? That's the way it's going.
Depends on how unique your name is.
It's Andrew Dobson. I think it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. So here's the thing. If you're the only Andrew Dobson, then immediately you get that citation juice, right? But if there's a lot of other Andrew Dobsons, what must happen is they have to mention something specific about what you do. Maybe your company name, maybe your website. Even if they don't link to your website, but the raw URL is there without a link, that helps a lot. So there has to be signals that it is the Andrew Dobson that they are talking about right there before you get some citation points.
For anyone else who has this experience, like basically asking that person who's going to feature you in an interview to mention that you have a website or a travel expert or a food expert, whatever that be, it would be helpful, right?
Would be helpful.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, and I completely understand you because I got a lot of interviews and featured, and my name's pretty unique, Sean C. That's it, right? So completely understand. Very helpful to have a unique name. That is all the time we have for the first workshop. See you back here for the second one. By the way, if you guys are wondering, my book is 350 baht. In the Philippines, it's more expensive. I sell it for higher, and I don't sign it, but here I will sign for you. Thank you so much. So, who's left? Who was here in the first session? All right. More than half the room. Cool. So I need to start because I want to maximize your time for Q&A. And I know some people will still be coming in, but no worries. This second session is going to be different. So for those of you who were here in the first session, we're just going to jump off from this. For those of you who weren't here on the first session, I don't know if I should. No, I shouldn't. I'll do a short introduction of myself. So my name is Sean. I'm the CEO and founder of SEO Hacker. It is an SEO agency in the Philippines. We have a 51-man team, and we handle more than 60 clients in the Philippines and elsewhere. And what do we do for them? We do their website, we do their design, hosting, security, speed, SEO. I'm a John Maxwell certified speaker and coach, a Wharton executive leader certified, and an RMP master. That means anything to you, but I'm here to talk about SEO. So today, right now, we're going to be talking about site speed. Site speed is a direct ranking factor. Who here has been to your Google Search Console?
Every day.
Every day. There you go. You should be the one speaking here. I see. So, you guys know about the Web Core Vitals?
Yes.
Yeah? You know what they are? First contentful paint. We're gonna go through them. Just kidding. Right? Google is also using a mobile first index right now. What does this mean? It means how your website is performing on mobile is how Google is going to be ranking your website. So it doesn't matter if your website loads fast on desktop, easy to use on desktop, nice on desktop. Google is going to be ranking your website based on how your website is on mobile. Is that news?
Nope.
Not really. Okay, you guys know that. Meaning no matter how fast your website is on desktop, and I assume it is faster in desktop, like any other website is faster in desktop, you will be ranked by how fast you load on mobile. Which is sad, because a lot of websites are slow on mobile. This is, and I use Anton's blog as an example in the first session. This is the second session, it's not a repeat. So this is going to be a moving on session, okay? Because a lot of people were asking me if I'm gonna be speaking about the same stuff. It's not. So the performance score is low, and don't worry, this is not uncommon, right? I could bet good money that if you try to put in your website on mobile, the load speed is going to be somewhere similar. It's going to be red. And red is 0 to 49. It's hard to get to orange. And if you get to green, you're probably from Google. So this is very, very difficult to get to. So most websites are red. Some lucky ones get to orange. That's it. Okay. And if you check how to improve the site speed from red to orange to green, Google does give you ideas. And it does tell you like how much time you're supposed to. Is this accurate or not? I don't know. I don't think so, right? How much time you're supposed to save when you do all of these things. Eliminate render blocking resources, reduce unused JavaScript, all of these things. Code and programming language stuff. So you have to ask your developers if they can help you out with this. But remember, for those of you who were here in the first session, I mentioned Anton is hosted by Automatic, which is the owner of WordPress. And still, his time to interactive is 10 seconds. What does this mean? It means when you open the site on mobile, how long does it take for your first tap to be noticed by the system, right? So can you click on anything? And for 10 seconds, you can't. It's just trying to fix itself while you're loading it. First contentful paint is the biggest image, and it loads in 3.6 seconds. Again, this is hosted by Automatic, the owner and maker of WordPress. Automatic, please don't burn me if you watch this video. I love WordPress. I always promote your websites. But this is what Google says, okay? So, there we go. Lots of things we can improve. I'm not gonna go too deep with this one, but if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Largest contentful paint, that is the largest image that immediately loads and is about to fold. So if you have a big image, it's not sized correctly for mobile or for desktop, you are going to bog down your load speed. You would want to keep this under 2 seconds. First input delay, Anton's first input delay is pretty good. Again, this is when you load the web page, how long does it take for the first tap or first click to be functional? So if you load the web page and immediately you can click on something, this one's gonna be green. Cumulative layout shift is when you load the page, or Elements still trying to adjust itself, right? On mobile and desktop, you can see sometimes when you load a page, it's still shifting. The buttons are trying to go where they're supposed to be. Kind of like when you open the door and people aren't ready, right? They're trying to shift. So if you are loading less than 0.10 milliseconds, it's going to be green. Again, these are very tough things to be able to do. For me, the most important thing is time to first byte. Familiar with this term? Some people saying yes, a lot of people saying no. Okay, time to first byte is when your server is able to finally send the first byte to the client. The client here is Google's page speed insights, because we're testing Anton's website, right? And automatic takes 2 seconds for them. When the server is pinged by Google, it takes 2 seconds for them to send the first byte. I will try to keep this at a decimal millisecond. 2 seconds is too long. It means the server is unresponsive, it's busy, it's processing too many other websites. So this is why I prefer using a dedicated server. It is expensive though, but if you have the budget, a dedicated server would help your rankings get higher, because this is a direct ranking factor. So sadly, Anton, I think they lumped you with a lot of other websites. So you have to get out of that server, ask them if they could give you a dedicated server. That would help this by a lot.
Okay, yeah, we got that before.
Yes. Again, I love automatic. I have nothing against you guys, but yeah, that's Google data. Improving site speed, we all know it's very hard. You gotta work with your developers, with your programmers, your coders, maybe even your web designers, your graphic artists, to make an image that is exactly for the resolution you need it for. Takes multiple experts to get to a green score. A lot of people not even trying anymore because it's super hard. So you involve your host server for the time to first byte. An easy way, if you have partners like Anton does with Automatic, just say, can you put me on a dedicated server? Or if ever you do need to put me on a shared server, can you limit us to just 10 websites? And nothing too massive. Nothing like, I don't know, 100,000 hits per minute. Nothing like that, right? If you're gonna lump me in with other websites, we have to share the processing memory equally. Meaning if I'm making 50,000 sessions a month, they also should be making somewhere similar sessions per month for it to be fair. Okay, if they're not agreeable, I suggest just get a dedicated server for yourself if you're serious about your SEO. You involve your designer for using web format for images. So as you know, there are web format now, .webf, I think, is the name, not JPEG anymore. That loads faster than JPEG, but if you must use JPEG, make sure that you're using the exact resolution that you need to load it for. And we're gonna be tackling that a little later than this. You have to upload, optimize, and smush images. So if you upload an image that's too big of a resolution, it would be like 2 megabytes, 3 megabytes, depending on the size. And people are loading it, and you only need it to load on a small scale. You're using a lot of process memory, and you're using a lot of bandwidth to deliver that image to them, but they're only using it on a small screen. So that's a lot of waste. So make sure you smush your images. There are smushing plugins on WordPress that you can use. I don't know what we use anymore, because I have my dev team doing it for me. But I think WP Smush was the last one I used. You can check it out. Just search in Google, what's a good smushing plugin. If you're not familiar with what smushing is, it's basically dumbing down the resolution so that the image is lighter in terms of size, and you're not consuming that much bandwidth, and your website is loading a lot faster. You involve your web developer to reduce scripts you don't really need. So we have a lot of scripts. Why do we have a lot of scripts? Because we install so many plugins that we don't need, right? Am I the only one guilty of that? You guys are not reacting like, not that guy, I'm not that guy, I'm not that girl. Yeah, we install a lot of plugins because we're too experimentative. They carry with them a lot of scripts, and scripts that we don't need. So that bogs down the site speed. You guys familiar with lazy loading?
Yes.
Okay, who's not familiar with lazy loading? Okay, what lazy loading is if you the moment you load a web page, everything loads above the fold. You get to see the banner, everything. And then everything below the fold doesn't load until you scroll near them. Then it starts to load. That's what lazy loading is. It helps a lot because now, as a client, you don't need to process everything. So the website does load faster for the client side. And on Google's eyes, the website is loading fast because the loading is done. And then when the user scrolls down a bit, the images and everything else starts to load. That's the only time it starts to load, but that doesn't affect the time to first byte anymore. Is everyone following? Is that clear?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I like to add.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. At least I have something. So just to mention, the web developers I'm working with are the ones who develop WordPress. And we're trying to nail this down actually for a while now. We're not loading any scripts on the website because they say that really slows down everything. So there's no, I think the only only plugin we use is for our email newsletter, because every time I blog, it sends out to all my readers. I think that's the only thing. And then the images, yeah, they recommended smashing the images, but my website is a lot of photos, so it's kind of hard. Some of the smashing plugin services have a fee per image, so I don't know. But thank you for the I'll ask them to change it to a different server.
Please don't hang me on a tree. It's my honest take. I'm here to help you guys. But yeah, so those are some things that you guys can do. I like using case studies because it makes things a lot more realistic and a lot more relatable. And Anton's site is really, really good. And he has a huge amount of organic traffic. Really good case study what happened with him. You guys know who this guy is?
Yes.
You better. He's the director for this conference, right? That's Shane. And I took this photo of him when we were in Kerala. I spoke there about SEO, and I spoke there about expertise, authority, and trust to their Department of Tourism. And he spoke about photography. And I went ahead and analyzed his website, so we're going to butcher him next. Thank God he isn't here. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, he got this PDF version of my PowerPoint, so he knows what's coming already. He reviewed it, and we talked about it already before this. Okay, so Shane, you know it before I went here. So Shane's a photographer. He's a travel photographer. Takes a lot of photos. And since we're discussing photos, this is something that I believe you should change. When you upload a photo, make sure you change the file name. Right, so I go ahead and click one of them, Mountains of Harir, and the exact URL is the image file name. And guess what? This image right here, it looks small, right? Compared to the web page, this image is a pretty small image. But you know how much this costs? It costs around 2 megabytes. Because when you click the image, it's a big image. So he is loading a big image in a small format, and it's a waste of bandwidth and processing memory for his server. Not so good. Also, this is all the content this page has. The title tag is good. Mountains of Harir, Iraq, perfect. The H1 tag is good, says the same thing, but no content, too big of an image. This definitely has to improve. So instead of that, what I would do instead is I would not want this page to be indexed. Instead, if people want to see a photo of the Mountains of Harir in my site, I would take them directly to this. Because this is what people really want, right? So I would rather have this indexed, take that away from WP content/uploads, and just use an image plugin that is SEO friendly and upload it there. I would not do it this way. Also, if you can upload, so if image SEO matters for you, you do it that way. If image SEO doesn't matter so much for you, I would rather you load it from somewhere else, like Dropbox, or I don't know what other image hosting platforms there are. SmugMug. I don't know these things anymore, but yeah, I would rather load it from somewhere else instead of eating my own bandwidth. right? Because that slows my server down. Okay, so image file names. Make sure before you upload, you change the file name. Basic stuff, but a lot of people miss that out, especially if they're too busy taking photos. You know, it's not their expertise. If you're serious about your image SEO, make sure you do that. And then, just like in the first workshop, this is something that I regularly do for my own websites and my clients' websites. Advanced search operator. Site, :https, your URL.com. What this shows you is exactly how Google sees your website. Your index, what they see in the index. Got a couple people here, more than a handful of people who weren't in the first session. We discussed this there. And if you missed and you guys missed it out, you can review it on the on-demand video. Now, how did I know all these? So this is the story part that I mentioned in the first session. 2009, I graduated, failed 28 units in college. They wanted to kick me out. I said, I'm virtually unemployable. Who's gonna wanna hire a guy fresh out of college, 28 failing units? I started a blog called God in You, I'm a Born Again Christian. So I'd write about my faith. And it's my wife, she's back there taking my video. And I looked at my stats and no one was reading the blogs I was writing. And I'm also a writer like you guys. I wrote 3 books, CEO at 22, my first book right there. You can get a copy if you want, I'll sign it for you. 2 other books are in Amazon. So I'm a writer by heart. No one was reading my stuff. I felt hurt. So I searched in Google, how do I increase my readers and subscribers? And this thing called SEO kept popping up. And during that time, 2009, I didn't know what SEO was. I was 21 years old. So I researched, I read about it, and I applied it to the God in You blog and started ranking. And up to today, I'd write there, and up to today, I'd get like 500 readers a day. And everything I was learning, I wrote in another blog, because it's definitely not about Christianity. Everything that I was learning was SEO stuff. So I started this blog called SEO Hacker. And people would read my blogs and they would share it, and they would inquire, can you do SEO for us? And I was this 21-year-old guy, pretty clueless about what I was doing still. And I landed some clients, and some more clients, and some more clients, until now we are a 51-man team in the Philippines. And it's a $1 million company, and I'm very proud to work with them. I have no investors, no partners. Started out like you guys, just one blog and a dream, and that's it. Everything I learned since then, I pass on to you guys here in my talks and in the blogs that I write, and I hope that it has added value to you. That is the end of my second presentation, and just to recap, and I have a lot of time for Q&A because earlier we got a lot more questions and we didn't have enough time. Number 1 is Google is a search engine. Everything in the search results is not made by Google, it's made by you guys. You are the result. People read you. All that Google does is make sure they rank the most relevant results higher. You have to know how Google sees you by using the advanced search operator that I mentioned earlier. Super basic, doesn't cost you any money, but you see your website like how Google sees you. Know the cost of switching between domain names. This is the case study that I presented in the first workshop when Anton's blog was redirected from ourawesomeplanet.com to awesome.blog. Again, if you guys missed it, there's the on-demand video, which you can watch. And then double check your SEO from time to time because you can miss out some stuff. There might be broken links. Anton had a Wikipedia link going to his site and he didn't notice it was broken. I had to tell it to him before he talked to Automatic and they fixed it for him. So that's it. Thanks so much. We're going to have time for Q&A. If any of the questions are not answered because we ran out of time, this is my email address. And I teach leadership on Spotify and YouTube. And yeah, you can get a copy of the book here today, and I'll sign it for you. I don't usually sign the copies I sell in the Philippines, so you guys are special for me like that. Yes, let's move on to the questions. And by the way, when you ask a question, make sure you got the mic because we're recording this one for TBEX. And we want your voice to be heard. Yeah, the lady right there wearing black.
Thank you, this has been very helpful. I have a question for you. I had upgraded my theme earlier this year, and I am ranking green on Google Search Console in all categories for mobile. So highly recommend the theme that I'm on if anybody's interested. Ask. So my question is, the old posts that I have on my blog have old images with very small sizes, but I'm wondering, the new theme uses WebP format for the images. And so should I go back to all the posts and re-upload all of those images in order to make it faster and more efficient?
Depends on how serious you are with your SEO.
Very serious.
Then you should do it.
Okay.
So it would largely, it's directly, if your revenue is directly correlated with how much traffic you're getting, especially organic traffic, because usually it's the number one source of traffic for bloggers, right? Then I suggest do everything you can. Because guess what? When you search for a keyword, any keyword, you can see millions of other websites are trying to compete with it. So every little thing you can do to make sure you get a one-up against them, do it.
Okay, thank
Hope
you.
that helps.
Question about Classic Editor versus Gutenberg. Any advantages to one or the other for both speed and SEO benefit?
The editor doesn't matter. For me, just use whatever is more comfortable for you because Google cannot crawl, index, or see the editor you're using. All they see is the finished, published product, and that's it. Yep.
Related to the image question, are you familiar with Magic Toolbox?
Magic Toolbox.
One of the things that they do is that they load a tiny, you have two images, one that's tiny, and then one that is bigger. And then if you just mouse over it, it blows it up into a big image.
Right, yeah.
You understand?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Does that, in the end, are you loading double images in that sense? Is it crawling?
No, you're loading the bigger one. And then what people are seeing if they don't mouse over it is the resized one for browsing purposes. But what your server is loading, which is what we're concerned about, is the bigger one at the get-go.
So is that screwing up the speed, in other words?
It's
Should I
like-
get rid of that Magic Toolbox feature?
That would largely depend on your user experience. So for example, an e-commerce site could argue the same thing, but I would tell them to keep it because people do want to see.
Yeah, like on Amazon, for example.
There you go, right? Or Nike or Adidas, right? Whatever shoe website, it's important for them to see the details of it, so I tell them to keep it. So with SEO, there's going to be some give and takes. It largely depends on the user experience that you want to serve to your users. I mean, for websites like Amazon, Nike, it doesn't matter to them anymore. They got so many backlinks, they got so much content, a lot of user-generated stuff. It doesn't matter to them anymore. If you're trying to chase rankings as of now, like you're not happy with your SEO, you want it to be really way better, then at this point, maybe I'll suggest for you to turn it off. But once you're getting some traction and you're a lot happier with your SEO, then maybe you can turn it on. That's gonna be my advice for that.
Second question.
Go ahead.
I started my blog in 2006, and I picked Joomla because it was everybody's going to WordPress. So I was like, oh, I'll be different. Try
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
So here I am. Should I convert to WordPress, or should I just stick with Joomla? What do you think?
Automatic, you gotta be listening right here. I suggest all the time, even to my clients who are using other CMSs, I would always suggest WordPress. It is the most searchable CMS out of the box, hands down. And other CMSs like Joomla, they're miles away, to be honest. Because you have to look at the open source ecosystem. Who has the most users? Who has the most developers helping out? It's gonna be WordPress. So all the other ecosystems out there are getting left behind, pretty badly actually, I might add. So, and then all these other web platforms like Shopify, Wix, all of these are managed. Squarespace, they're professionally managed. You pay per month, and you don't need to have your own out-of-the-box CMS anymore that you're hosting self-hosted. So a lot of people are transitioning to these things. What would happen to the open source ecosystem especially to those not having a lot of users or programmers. It's just going to deteriorate. So my suggestion is if you could still transition out to WordPress from Joomla, do it as soon as you can. Hope that helps. Yes, sir.
So first of all, for credibility, I got a 99 on one of the sites. I'm not using WebP. So obviously I'm not going to switch to that, but it also, I haven't found for me that it makes enough of a difference. So for instance, I might try a couple pages and then see if they change. But you really have to test your own site. By the way, I paid $10, $12 a month for hosting for that site. So it's not like I'm investing in some super server or something like that. But I do it on a VPS, which is for nerds only. So and that makes a big difference. It's not, as you said, it's not a shared server. It's shared with my sites, but
but that's it. Yeah,
right, but
and not a lot of plugins working for you as well.
Lots of plugins.
Lots of plugins, but working on a VPS.
But I looked at the plugin. For instance, I won't use Jetpack. Jetpack turns out it's a pig. And I love the Automatic guys who wrote the Jetpack plugin, but I won't use their plugin. And then there are some plugins that I use that are like doing that are a little heavier. That, for instance, lets you sign up to get automatic notifications every time my page changes. But that's a very useful feature, and I'm willing to
pay the price.
But no, I actually use a fair amount of plugins. Half I wrote myself. And things like
there you go. Like, wish we were all as blessed as you are, sir.
And on the other side, I screwed up my SEO because while changing my robot.txt file, I banned the CSS from Google, and my mobile core vitals just went in the toilet. So you have to be careful, even if you know what you're doing. So
there you go. Thank you for sharing.
So my question is kind of related. I run 5 different sites, and they all tend to be like high 80s in that speed score, and LCP is usually not green. How much do I need to sweat that last little percentage? Because I'm already on fast themes. The server's pretty response time's good, but I do have ads, display ads, and like I'm not going to drop those. So is that decent? Like, can I live with that rather than worrying about that last 10%?
Yeah, for me, it's always going to be the law of diminishing returns, right? And the Pareto principle. So for the last 20%, you need to put in 80% more effort than what you put in for the first 80%. So if I was going to go ahead and analyze your websites and see that it's the only thing missing, then I would sweat it. But if it's not, if you got a lot of work on your backlinks, a lot of work on your technical programming, the code structure of your website, the framework, if you got a lot of work left on your redirects, if you got a lot of work left on the content, your algorithm, that's RankBrain, Google MUM, MUM, and Hummingbird. So Hummingbird is all about language and foreign translations. Google MUM is going to be about the velocity between words and how people understand and use them. And RankBrain is the main engine that measures how well, if you're ranked on the top 3 spots of Google and people click on your result, how well do they engage, stay, and interact with your website? And that's why you could see that websites in the Google search results shift from day to day. There used to be a time when Google search doesn't shake up for a month or 2. I don't know if you guys probably remember that, right? We're all the same age here, right? So there was a time when Google results would not change until a month or 2. Now it changes every single day. And that's because there's 3 AIs working in the engine. We don't know what they're up to. We don't know how they think. We don't know what data is being fed to them on a daily basis. And that makes it very difficult, even for a guy with a crystal ball like me, to tell you where Google is headed. All I know is Google's mission is to serve people the most relevant results at the fastest amount of time. And if you're always going to be going that direction along with Google, then I think you're okay. Hope that helps.
Except for ads.
Except, yeah, look, the Google Ads team will tell you put more ads because they are not working with the Google search team at all. And the Google search team is not working with the Google SEM or search engine marketing team as well. So Google AdSense team, Google Ads team, and Google search team, they don't talk with each other.
That you know of.
So, sorry?
That you know of.
That I know of. Are you from Google, sir?
No.
Can you help us out right here? Yeah, so
as an engineer, yeah.
Yeah.
They talk.
I'm not. They probably talk, right? But maybe not about how things work in their respective teams. Because one team will say something like, "Put more ads in your website, put it above the fold," and then Google search team goes ahead and says, "Don't put any ads above the fold," and we're like, "What?" So I don't think that they're really in sync with each other when they say these things. They're running different business units, and of course they're going to be saying things publicly to the advantage of their business units. Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is not so much a question but more a comment following on from this issue.
Sure.
Google have been saying for years that quality content is going to win out on tricky SEO practices.
Yeah.
But as we all know in this business, as for many good travel blogs that there are out there, there are probably twice as many which have been built by SEO factories using black hat practices and are actually outranking the good quality blogs because they're using all of these SEO tricks. The content is garbage. It's rubbish.
Yeah.
It's just ripped off other people's blogs, rewritten.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, you can see that these so-called travel writers have never ever been to the places that they're traveling about, they're writing about. Google has been saying for 6 years, maybe even longer, that will be dealt with in this new artificial intelligence that will recognize quality original writing.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical of it's coming. I hope it will, but that's just my observation.
Thank you for your observation. Actually, that's something that's interesting. Who among you guys here still see some scraped results in Google search?
Constantly.
Constantly. You got like maybe 30% of the room, maybe 40% of the room. Yeah, somewhere there. You guys still see it?
Oh,
Yeah, or it's not
Every
scraped,
post
it's
is
just
scraped.
really bad.
Or it's not scraped, just really bad. Okay, got it. I'm gonna go ahead and tell Google. No, but really, that's what Google keeps on saying, that they're gonna be combating it. They're gonna try to. Here's the thing: black hat SEOs, they're actually pretty brilliant people. And it's actually pretty hard to compete with them, as well as hackers. So there are people who you would consider not morally upright, and they're very, very smart. And for them, it's not an issue trying to outsmart Google, trying to outrank other people this way. So the solution to that is not going to be Google, because Google hasn't been able to solve that. The solution to that is going to be Jesus.
Oh, there it is. You just reminded me of another question. There's a lot of bloggers, particularly on Facebook, who are doing a lot of link swaps.
Yeah.
And I get people reaching out to me by email saying, let's do a link swap, and it's okay because it's three-way.
Yeah. Yeah, I get
I
those.
assume that Google is eventually going to start noticing those.
If you do it frequently, yes, they are. Because you're building a private blog network right there. Right? So, but if you don't do it frequently, like you do it, you build like 1, 2, 3 of them in a month, that doesn't matter. Google's not going to crack down on that. Yeah.
Is it
And I'm on record.
Is
Yep.
it better to build like a bunch like at once of those 3 ways, or do it like scattered over time?
Scattered over time. It's a lot safer. I'm smiling because I'm saying this on a record. Don't hold it out against me, Google.
Yeah.
But yeah, in my experiments and in my experience, scattered, not frequent. Don't put a time frame on when you're going to be building the next one. Don't make it a pattern. That works best. Right? And I know how hard it is to build links. I do know that. So three-way links sometimes you gotta just chomp that up and try to get some. Yep. There you go. Sam.
In the recent years, our content has been copied like completely.
Yeah.
Even photos, and the photos have our site name in it.
Yeah.
And people started ranking on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've had, so we've grown from like 300,000 to 600,000 in 1 year. Views per month. And the same amount of people were copying our stuff. And then we found out that people were actually running ads via Mediavine or other partners. And we started trying to like get Google to remove them, but it was very hard, and still it is now, to get them removed. Do you have any experience with that? How to automate that, or how to?
I'm gonna have to do an analysis of your website. So how long has it been up for?
2016.
2016. You should have ample authority to outrank them if they scrape your articles.
They don't outrank me, but like we have a lot of young people, and they message us on Instagram like, hey, I got to this page. It's exactly your stuff. Your photos are in, your content is in there.
Yeah.
And they're running ads, or they're making money. Are there affiliate links as well?
Yeah. And your links, are your links there also? And those are?
No, they changed the links to their affiliate partner.
Wow.
And this has happened like maybe 10 times a month. And now it's slowly decreasing, so I'm not sure what's happening. It's just the latest update from Google did.
So the only advice that I could give you that you can act on is you have to find out their scraper. So these scrapers use a robot to do that, right? And what you can do is from your robots.txt file, you put in a disallowed and then the name of their crawler. That's all you can do actively. Otherwise, you just have to keep reporting them to Google. I wouldn't bother with them, to be honest, because your readers, your audience know who you are. They're going to follow you. They're going to keep reporting that to you for sure. But I don't think that these other people are also making a lot of money from that, because they're not ranking well anyway.
Well, still, if you want to be a Mediavine, you have to have a certain level of views per month.
Right.
Right.
And they're probably mixing. Yeah. And they're probably mixing your articles with a lot of other people's articles. Actually, the real victims here are those websites that are new and they're trying their best and they're trying hard to make their articles rank, but they're getting scraped by these websites and they're ranking above them. Those are the real victims, if you ask me.
Okay.
Hope that helps.
Yeah.
So I have it like 6 times per post where 6 different sites will scrape everything. The robot site text isn't going to help because they're not well-behaved bots, and bots don't have to look at robot site text.
Yep.
So you really have to figure out what IP they were coming from and block that IP at your server level.
Okay.
I've thought about writing plugins to like try and figure out who they are and redirect them to something funny, but and see if they'll scrape Disney and let the Disney lawyers worry about it. But I haven't got around to it yet. But it's just constant right now.
How would you figure out their IP if it's like through Cloudflare or?
Well, so the IP of the robot is really what you need to know if you can determine what the robot is. I haven't had a lot of luck with that so far.
Okay. Email me if you do.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a lot of IPs hitting your website, and a lot of them are legitimate users, right? And these robots, they're not there every single day. It's gonna be some days they're not. It's pretty hard to pinpoint them.
The ones that I'm seeing are probably there every day because literally I post a blog post
In the same
and
day.
they have scraped me within 24 hours.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Often within an hour.
Got it. So you have to be mindful of those frequencies, just like yours. It's every day. So and you try blocking those IP addresses.
But it's hard.
Yeah,
and you could easily fall down a rabbit hole of just driving yourself crazy.
Yeah. Thanks.
Well, to be fair, if there are times that Hendrik's raising his hand, if there are times that they missed out a link or two, and it's a do follow link to your site, then it's worth it in a way.
I'll say that.
Yep. Okay, sir, yeah, go ahead.
So if I have older like photos on my site, audio files where I go through and change the file name to something more appropriate, I guess there's no way it would screw things up if I went back and tried to change the names at this point, right?
If you change the names at this point, you're going to be changing the URL source and every other blog post or page you have trying to hit that source. You got to change that.
Right. So I just got to do it going forward. There's no way to really fix the.
There is. You just gotta go through the grind of figuring out what other pages and blog posts you have are using that as a source.
But
And change
anytime
that
I
as
link
well.
to it on social media or something, I've got to.
Yeah, that's gonna be broken. Yeah. Pros and cons. Yeah.
Yo, thanks so much for the very insightful talk. I just want to check because Facebook is kind of scraping instant articles, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you think are the kind of impact it might have on sites?
On the Facebook instant articles, you have to apply to Facebook instant articles for them to be able to scrape. Yeah, they scrape the page and then they only scrape it when you share it or when someone shares it.
So the context of it is, let's say we've been using instant articles for a while, and then I mean we all know that social indicators are also a factor in SEO, right? So the fact that now Meta is scraping their whole instant articles team and like removing it from the platform itself, do you have any observations or like thoughts on how it would affect what we need to do to rank better in terms of social indicators and stuff?
Social indicators, like, here's the thing. It's hard to say these things on record because I don't know where this video is going to go to. But Meta and Instagram, one company, TikTok, if you look at their search results in Google, like you search the name of a Facebook page or an entity, you can't see everything on Google. And that's because Meta is not that friendly with Google, with their content. They want people to be in their content for a long amount of time. That's the mission of Facebook. That's why they make it so addictive. So I would not go so far as to say that a lot of social counters, indicators matter a lot in terms of search rankings. They're correlated, meaning if you have a high amount of followers, if you have a high amount of engagements, usually your blog also ranks well. But that's usually because the webmaster, you guys, care a lot about your SEO and your socials, right? So they're correlated. But I don't think that any social signal causes higher rankings. Does that make sense? I don't think they cause, they're just correlated in a way. So I wouldn't worry about Meta sunsetting Facebook instant articles at all. And if you have a lot of mentions from news sites, other publications, other blogs, your name's there, your website's there, I'd focus more on that. Hope that helps, yeah.
The follow-up question, I guess, would be on do you think link building would die off in the future? Because I think naturally Google is always working towards creating content that gives value back to people, right?
Yeah.
And how we see value has changed from how, like in the past, right, it's about the more people link into you, the higher chance, the more likelihood that your piece is a worthwhile piece.
Yeah.
But given how content works these days,
yeah.
I feel like the importance in link building is decreasing. I'm not sure what you think about it.
It has decreased by maybe 50% of what it used to be, in my experience. So I gotta take you back in time, give you a little history lesson for you to understand the importance of links and why I think it's not gonna go away. Who here still remembers Yahoo and MSN search?
Yes.
All right, we got an honest crowd. Yahoo and MSN. That's what we used to use, right? Sorry?
Alta Vista.
Alta Vista. Okay, I haven't been able to use Alta Vista, but yeah, I know Alta Vista had a search engine. So we got all these search engines that predate Google. Why don't we use them anymore?
They suck.
They couldn't keep up. They sucked, right? Couldn't keep up. What else?
Google just gave better results.
There you go. Google just gave better results. Why? How? It's because of the links.
Yeah, the algorithm.
It's because of the links. That's what's different. Yahoo, MSN, I think also Alta Vista, Hotpot, keep going, right? All of these other search engines, they did not use links. All they used were the words inside the web pages. So before in Yahoo and MSN, you would get crazy results, such as, for example, wooden podium for sale. You type that search query in Yahoo, and a porn site and gambling site would come out. Because porn sites and gambling sites make a lot of money when they get found on Yahoo and MSN. And Yahoo and MSN SEOs, all they had to do was pepper the websites with words. So they would put a lot of words, same font color as the background, super small size, put all the words there, and they would pop up in MSN Yahoo search. And people moved away from MSN, Yahoo, Alta Vista, all of these other websites, because Google released an algorithm that uses the referral system. Much like how, for example, you asked me if you have an aching tooth, and you ask me, Sean, do you know any good dentists in Phuket? And let's say we're good friends, I'm from here, I know a good dentist, here you go to this dentist. You don't know this dentist. You have no idea, no experience with this dentist. But based on our relationship, the trust that you give me, you pass on to this dentist, right? If you trust me, you know I have best intentions for you. You know I'm also picky with my dentist, you would go to this dentist. So that referral system is exactly what the links system of Google is trying to do. You would not link to a porn site. If you are a travel blogger and your travel site is wholesome, you will not link to a gambling site, right? Google uses that system to know which websites are better in terms, or are more worthy in terms of ranking high. So that is the history of backlinks. That is why I don't think Google will sunset backlinks. It will always be a factor. It is less of a factor today, yes, but it's still a pretty big factor, considering all the other factors out there. Hope that helps, Hendrik. There you go.
Okay, then in this case, would it be worthwhile to use the link building service to help?
Usually, well,
that's the right-hand technique.
It depends on where you're going to get the link building service from, right? You have to, in my opinion, the best form of links is still the links that you personally build. Because you control the quality, you control where they're coming from, you control the anchor text, you control where they're going to point to. If you hire link builders to do it, it is pretty expensive if you hire a white hat link building company, because they also have to contact the webmaster. Sometimes you gotta pay the webmaster also on your behalf. So it does get very expensive. So I suggest for link building, best results, do it yourself. Contact webmasters and collaborate with them. Much like how Hendrik's presentation, if you were here yesterday, he would collaborate with brands. Just send them an email, send them a pitch. Say, hey, I'm a travel blogger, I know you are too, and the world is a big place, mind helping each other out, right? Oftentimes they'll respond. And if they respond, then you can say, is it a big deal if I could get a link from your side and you can get a link from mine? Now, if your DA or your page authority or domain authority sucks, like it's 1 to 10, and his is like 50 to 70, I don't think you're gonna get much. But if you're at the same level, somewhat, I think you're always gonna find good success. So also be strategic about how you're building those links. Hope that helps.
Okay.
Yep, and then you got them there.
Talking about links, so I get a lot of these messages, rather these comments below the articles, which obviously I don't approve, from these either the casino sites or escort sites or taxi sites. Is there something to stop it? Seriously, she said it right. How to deal with that? I've got nothing to do with that kind of content. I do not write, but so many messages, so many comments you get. So when you open your inbox, you're looking for comments, and then you see all these things.
Yeah, just spam comments, spam emails asking you for a backlink or two. Sadly, the only solution that I've been doing is click on the spam button. That's it. Even the spam comments you can use on Kismet if you're using WordPress. But as the gentleman behind you said, using any plugin by Automatic, especially Jetpack, is very heavy on the processing there. Yeah.
Just change your comment settings so that they have to have at least one approved comment and everything else goes to moderation. In which case you have the time of pressing the spam button, but it doesn't affect your SEO. Because it doesn't show up at all. And if you don't get around to reviewing your comments, then it takes the legitimate commenters longer for it to see it. But there is another comment plugin that I use that's pretty fast. I'd have to look it up though.
Yeah. Other people use Discuss, SQS. Yeah, there's a lot of it. But yeah, sadly, there's a lot of spammers because they're trying to get backlinks from your website also. So there you go. You just have to moderate all of your comments and hit spam button whenever you don't like any of them. That's it. Yep.
So you mentioned
I think
DA.
this is the last question, right? Yeah, go ahead.
So you mentioned DA, but from things I've read, Google doesn't care about DA.
Yeah.
Yes, no?
Yeah, it's not a Google metric.
Right.
But DA, PA, DR from Ahrefs, DA, PA's laws, it is the closest thing we have to PR, which is the PageRank system, which Google uses. Right? Google sunsetted public PR or public PageRank so that SEOs would be kept in the dark about what's our PageRank now, how many links, how does Google see my links now. They sunsetted that because SEOs and Google, we have a love-hate relationship. Right? They can't really kick us out because we make the web a better place. But they also cannot support us completely because we take business away from them. Because people know. Do you guys click on Google Ads?
No.
Never? Zero out of 50? Sometimes by accident. Okay. See, there's around 5% of us here maybe clicking on Google search, Google Ads. So whatever. Yes, Google, please stop listening to me. So whatever it is that you guys are experiencing running search ads, multiply that by ×8 at least. That's what you get with SEO. People know that. Google knows that. So we have a love-hate relationship with Google because they can't really kick us out. So yeah, that's the platform we are in. And we don't know PR anymore. We have no idea what our PageRank is anymore because Google sunsetted that. So the closest thing we have are third-party measuring tools like PA, DA, DR, whatever it is. And then we triangulate what we got. We triangulate SEMrush's algorithm with Moz's, and then we get a good idea of what the PA, DA is. Right? Hope that makes sense. All right, with that, thank you so much, everyone. Hope you had fun. I did. And enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you so much.
So what is your